When one door closes, another opens. So whatever door was slammed shut for you during the Libra lunar eclipse, trust that it's setting you up for the brand new start, brand new entry point, brand new portal of this week's Aries solar eclipse. Hi all, my name is Comet and welcome to Just Your Magic Monday, aka your weekly horoscope, where we gather here in the cosmic corner of the internet with a cosmic beverage in hand to let you know all about what you need to know about your week ahead and every week ahead. So this week we're talking about the astrology from April 8th to April 14th, 2024, but do know that this is a weekly ritual here on my channel, so if the style of how I deliver a forecast resonates with you, I would so appreciate a subscription if you can get behind making your Mondays a little bit more magical. Now, my question for you is, can you feel it in the air? Can you feel the eclipse season frenetic energy in the air? Eclipses are typically quite intense. There's a lot of new beginnings. There's a lot of endings. There's lots of activations, upgrades, moves, job changes. There's a lot of shifts happening all around, but also with Mercury retrograde, all within as well. Eclipse season is when timelines accelerate. So oftentimes there can be events that transpire that signal where fate is taking us next, where growth is taking us next. And I want to let you know, up to this point, before this week of astrology, a lot of what fate was telling us and where fate was sending us was more so wrapped up in the releases, was more so wrapped up in what was departing our life. Because the last eclipse that we had, the Libra lunar eclipse, was on the south node, which signifies what we are shedding, what we are grieving, what we are releasing. And the in-between period, you might have been like in this hallway, like, okay, well, the Libra lunar eclipse certainly slammed shut a door within my world, and I don't know what door is swinging open. I don't know how this could possibly be setting me up for a new start. But what you need to take solace in is that a new start is aligning for you, and it's embedded within this week's Aries solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024. This is a new moon, it's a solar eclipse, which signifies a brand new chapter being initiated, not just for us, but for the collective. And it's on the north node, which signifies what we are being launched towards. Now, it lands in the courageous fire sign Aries. So there is this ask to step into this new chapter with courage, with independence, with authenticity. But it's important to know that this eclipse may not have you feel like Superman, okay? Just gliding into your next chapter. You might fly for a second into the next chapter feeling enthused about the new beginning, as scary as it may be, and then realize that your cape has a hole in it and you go crashing down. Don't worry, it'll be a soft landing, okay? Everything is aligning for you, but it's important not to let the temporary moments of defeat get you down from this new beginning. So why am I saying this? So the ruler of the Aries solar eclipse is Mars, who this week aligns with Saturn. And if you know anything about Saturn, that can be the energy of a hole in the cape. That's the energy around running as fast as you can and running right into a sliding glass door. This is the energy around feeling burnt out, having a finite amount of energy. And what this astrology is going to ask you this week is, how badly do you want it? Are you going to be able to patch a hole within your cape and keep going? Are you going to be able to pick yourself up after you ran in that sliding glass door? Are you going to allow yourself to rest and not give up? Like, that is the ask with Mars Saturn. Rest, do not give up. There is a new beginning aligning for you. And adding to that, this eclipse is embedded with Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So there is a lot that's coming to the surface around our own patterns. Keep in mind, Mercury's retrograde. So a lot of eclipse events might be happening out there, but a lot of culminations and realizations and epiphanies and ahas might be happening from within as well. And not all of them are so pleasant when Chiron's involved. There could be this energy around feeling that this new start is aligning for you and then hesitating before you jump in because you're like, could I possibly? Am I enough? Will this work out for someone like me? The sign Aries, it asks for utmost authenticity, for you to be able to march into this next chapter being wholly and authentically yourself, flaws and all with this connection to Chiron, flaws and all. It doesn't make you any less of a superhero if you have a hole in your cape that you had to patch up. What matters is if you keep going. And also the unique medicine or the unique perspective that you being a superhero with the hole in your cape gives you. Like, that's the ask of this solar eclipse. Rather than holding ourselves back from new opportunities and new chapters and new doors opening because of our wounds, because of our insecurities, because of our inadequacies, there's an ask to be even more lit up about this new chapter because of them, understanding, hey, this is part of my story. This is what makes me the superhero that I am. This is what makes me the human that I am, the creator that I am, the mother that I am, the business person that I am, the father that I am, whatever it is that you are. This is a solar eclipse that asks you to understand that everything that made you feel like you were not enough is exactly why this new opportunity, this new chapter, this new doorway being open chose you. It's about the unique medicine that our experiences have given us. And there's an ask with this Aries solar eclipse to understand the strength that is embedded within vulnerability. There is no shame in having a hole in your cape that you had to patch up. In fact, that could inspire other individuals where even if they have a hole in their cape, they can patch it up, they can keep flying as well. It's no longer having shame for the times that we have fallen down, for the times that we have gone through it, for where it is that we come from, for where it is that we feel to be not enough. It's feeling even more empowered to move to this new chapter as the most integrated self, not rejecting and abandoning the ugly or raw parts of our journey, but moving into this new chapter with it proudly, hole in the cape and all. So we will talk about everything you need to know about this solar eclipse. We'll talk about Mars on Saturn, the Mercury Cazimi this week. We've got a lot to discuss. And that means we're going to need a lot of coffee to be able to discuss it. So take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start your week. I'm drinking a regular cup of joe, to be specific, the breakfast blend from Ralph's with a little bit of almond milk in there. And it's feeling like a weird combination, this cup of coffee and this red mini dress. Honestly, the red mini dress was a bit of a wild choice considering that it is a Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. and I'm here in a red mini dress. I don't know what came over me. It's Aries season. That's been like the joke within my group chat is any decision that we're making, we're like, it's Aries season. We could do whatever we want, which absolutely. The energy of Aries is just emboldening. Hey, you want to wear a red mini dress? Wear a red mini dress. Who cares if it's a Tuesday morning at 8 a.m.? Wear the red mini dress. If you want to wear the red mini dress, be who it is that you are, flaws and all, weirdness and all. And I got this like nudge when I was setting up all my camera equipment. I was like, I need to go get my mail right now. And I don't know why, something took over me that I needed to go get my mail. So I put on my little slippers and I go down the hallway to go to the mail room. And of course, one of my neighbors is in there and kind of looks at me quizzically because it is kind of weird, you know, red mini dress, Tuesday morning, 7 a.m., everybody's going to work. And technically I am too, but I'm sure my neighbor assumed that I had just gotten back from the night prior, or I don't even know what he thought. He didn't even ask me. I kind of wish he would have, because I don't know what he was assuming, but hey, it's Aries season. Do what you gotta do, wear what you gotta wear. But let me know what you're sipping below, and let's go ahead and take it into our vibe check of the week. So if this is your first time to Magic Monday, firstly, welcome. Secondly, Vibe Check of the Week is a segment that we do every single week where we essentially demystify the cosmos. So if these terms from Mercury Cazimi to Mars conjoining Saturn to Mercury being retrograde to the solar eclipse in Aries on the North Node, if that goes way over your head, this segment takes all of what that feels like and how that practically surfaces within our universe down here on planet Earth and compares it to a real life scenario, so that even if you're unsure of the nuances of what it means to have an inferior Mercury Cazimi, you can tune into, oh, I've been in a situation like that, or oh, something like that happened to a friend, or I can resonate with the emotions that that would elicit. So this week's hypothetical vibe check of the week is the following scenario. So this astrology feels like a desire that you've had to run track. We will say that there have been many years that you have so wanted to run track, but you have held yourself back from this desire because your body type is different than the typical track body type. So you haven't even let yourself try it because you don't want to be ridiculed. You feel like everybody's going to judge you. You feel like everybody's going to look at you and be like, what do they think they're doing running track? Like their body couldn't possibly keep up. So year after year, you have stood back on the sidelines watching everybody else run and trying to suppress this fire of desire that's been lit within you around, I want to do this. I want to see if I can do this. And of course, it scares you, both the fear of ridicule from others, as well as your own internal loops around who wants you there. You couldn't possibly. But like I said, this is a solar eclipse that asks for courage. And so in the vibe check, you decide, no more. I'm sick of sitting on the sidelines. I'm sick of suppressing this fire of desire within me. I'm sick of constantly wondering what it would be like to be able to run track. I'm sick of being so in my head about my perceived insecurities and flaws that I'm not even letting myself try this and uncover who I could be stepping into this desire fully. So you decide to try out for the track team, and half of the battle is in your head, right? With the Mercury Cazimi this week, with Mercury being retrograde, there is a lot of inner scripts and loops that we are battling with. And I do mean battling. It's answering to Mars, who's on Saturn. You could be trying to battle these fears and being like, wow, these fears have hands. Like, I really thought I was going to be able to overcome this a lot more seamlessly than I'm able to. And the actual scenario, the external world, that's only half of the battle. So much of the battle is in here. And that's what Mercury retrograde and this week's Mercury Cazimi is making clear to you around the internal scripts, how it is that you talk to yourself, how it is that you see yourself, and how that could be blocking you from stepping into this next chapter. But once you can identify these scripts and loops, you can keep them from holding you back. And that's exactly what happens in the vibe check. You show up to the tryout, you dull the noise of that inner hater, everything within you that made you just want to stay at home instead, and you show up. You feel like everybody's judging you. You don't know if it's in your head or people are really looking at you like, why are they trying out? Like, their body type is not ideal for track and field. But you really exert that mental fortitude around, no, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I cannot let my fears and my insecurities and my inadequacies hold me back any longer. I'm sick of sitting on the sidelines as I watch other people live out my desires. It's time for me to claim what it is that I want out of this experience because it is my own. And so you get to the starting line for your audition. You are getting all set to go. And in the moment that the buzzer goes off, you are off. The adrenaline just takes over and you are soaring. You are feeling just as free and alive as you had always visualized yourself feeling. You really do love running. If you were to take out the judgment that you feel like other people shoot your way when you are running, this is your happy place. You love to do this. And you're feeling free. You're no longer feeling held back by your fears any longer. But because you started with such a jolt, you realize like, uh-oh, I'm gonna need endurance to be able to get to the finish line. We'll say it's a more long distance heat. And you are running and running and running. You're like, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And because you're feeling more weak and you're feeling more tired, it just so happens that you misstep on one of your feet and you fall down and you are so humiliated. You already felt like everybody was judging you, and now you're like, what am I doing here? I am such a flop. And every cell in your body wants you to run away, never show your face again. But you really make a decision. When you're lying there on that track course, you make a decision. You're like, I could run away and suppress this desire and never know if I could complete this heat or if I could make the track and field team, or I can choose to get back up and get after it. And that's exactly what you choose to do. And you really work the muscle of endurance. You pace yourself for the rest of the heat and you make it across the finish line. So you may not be running track and field this week, but there is an ask to push through. This eclipse is a marathon and not a sprint. And you might be saying, Haley Comet, but it's in Aries. Aries is a very fast, direct, impulsive, action-oriented sign. What do you mean it's a marathon, not a sprint? Follow the ruler of the eclipse. We see that it's Mars on Saturn. Saturn is the planet of time. Saturn is the planet of finite restrictions. And with it on Mars, finite restrictions of our energy. We can have all of the enthusiasm, all of the excitement around the new start that we are initiating, but this week asks us to equally put in the groundwork to ensure that this is enthusiasm or a new beginning that can last, to make decisions for future you, to not burn yourself out in the first sprint of the race, using your energy intentionally to get to the other side, as well as if you hit a wall, because a lot of us could be feeling defeated this week. There could be certain arenas that come up that trigger your insecurities. There can be a fall, right? There can be something that happens where you're just like, should I give up? And that's where you need to work that disciplined energy of Saturn to get back up and keep running and finish the gosh darn race. You did not come this far to only come this far, right? You did not battle all of those fears and those demons within your head to get to this tryout, to just give up at the first fall, right? You owe it to yourself to see this through. You owe it to yourself to continue showing up even when it's challenging. This is a new start that is fated. There are synchronicities and loops that are happening for you. And so this week's solar eclipse is a new beginning, but it's not a new beginning where it goes seamlessly, okay? This is a new beginning that requires grit. It requires endurance. It requires courage. It requires showing up. It requires, even though it's humiliating to fall, still getting up and finishing the race, even if you have scabbed knees. It means being able to overcome the fears of the insecurities within your head that are telling you that you're going to be the laughing stock of the track field, that nobody wants you there. You have to overcome that. There might be physical restrictions on your energy. You know, eclipses tend to affect us very energetically. Like you could be noticing you feel drained or exhausted. You could be feeling restless all over the place. This is a week to really commit to consistency. Yes, there is an enthusiastic new start aligning with Aries solar eclipse, but it does require our participation and it does require our endurance and continually keeping our eye on the finish line and exerting our energy as appropriate, not burning ourselves out within the first sound of the buzzer, right? You got to take all that enthusiasm and build it into your schedule or build it into your systems, build it into your processes so that you can continue showing up. The race that we're in this week is a marathon, not a sprint. And when it comes to building and co-creating the life that you were destined for, flaws and all, insecurities and all, with this Chiron energy, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Part of the battle of this week is tempering all of the impatience of Aries energy and just trusting, hey, there's a new chapter aligning and I'm going to step into it with courage. I'm going to step into it with confidence. I'm going to step into it with enthusiasm, but I'm also going to put the frameworks in place so that I keep going, so that I keep showing up, that I pick myself up when I fall, that I am training, that I am practicing. That is the ask of this week's astrology. So we will take this energy day by day, but before we do, I just want to let you know that I am located in California. So if you are located in any other time zone other than PDT, it's important to know all times that I mention are PDT, as that is where I am located. I also want to let you know there are timestamps below should you feel called to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day. These forecasts are long. I totally get it. I know a lot of people will listen to the day portions as the day continues, so feel free to do that as an option. I also want to let you know that there is a setting on YouTube called playback speed that adjusts the rate of my speaking to align with your rate of processing. Feel free to play with that. Speed me up, slow me down, whatever aligns. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Monday, April 8th. So welcome to your astrology forecast for Monday, April 8th, aka Eclipse Day, everybody. It's Eclipse Day. So the Aries solar eclipse exacts at 11:21 a.m. PDT, but please note that the intensity and urgency of this eclipse will not just be neatly concentrated to 11:21 a.m. You likely have been feeling this build and you will continue to feel this build throughout the rest of the week. But like I said, it is an eclipse about beginnings. Painful beginnings, perhaps, because there is a Mercury Cazimi involved with this eclipse. Because yes, beginnings can be so beautiful and so exciting, but sometimes the new beginning that we're stepping into was wrapped up in an ending that is taking place. With the energy of Aries, this is the sign of self. So there could be a new challenge that you are taking on where it's just you. You know, like even within the vibe check, you didn't go to the track and field tryouts with friends. It was just you. You're the one who got your butt in the car, who drove yourself down there, who wore your cute little running outfit. You were the one who made that happen for yourself. And while that can feel empowering at some moments, there can be other moments where you're sitting in the car like, what am I doing? Can I do this? Can I do this? Like a lot of times beginnings can be enthusiastic and exciting. And sometimes our beginnings that are aligning within our universe can be bittersweet. It's like we're excited about the new chapter, but there's doubts. There's potentially insecurities with the alignment to Chiron. There's a feeling that's making you wonder, can I do this? And that's where you need to step in and build that muscle around being your own best hype person and saying, yes, you can. No one's going to get you to that tryout but yourself. You have to be able to depend on yourself and trust yourself and not let the inner judgment from within or even the perceived judgment around you hold you back from what you want out of life. Embarking on this new chapter, no one's going to make sure you actually try out. You could just stay in your car and drive home and then have to live with the regret around what would have happened had I tried out. But there's nobody else there to keep you accountable. You have to keep yourself accountable. And that's sort of the ask with the Aries solar eclipse answering to Mars on Saturn, is building that muscle around showing up even when it's hard, pushing through the physical barriers certainly, but also the mental barriers, also the pain barriers that exist within us. Because this solar eclipse aligns with Chiron. There's a Mercury Cazimi on Monday, and it's very interwoven into the themes of this eclipse. So there could be certain events that are happening within your external world that are brand new, right? You've never tried out for track and field before. This is a new scenario. But the feeling that you have in walking towards the track triggers a familiar pain point. You're like, oh, I know this feeling. I know this insecurity. This is the exact feeling of what it felt like to walk to the middle school cafeteria and look for a place to sit and feel like everybody was judging me. Ooh, there's that familiar pain tape. Or, ooh, this feels exactly like being on the swim team in elementary school and overhearing other people on the swim team gossiping and whispering about me. Ooh, familiar pain point. And there's this ask around maybe feeling that trigger, because I will be forthright, sometimes when we have strong Chiron energy, there can be activations of certain wounded parts within us around, ouch, ooh, that's familiar. The circumstances might be different, but that gets to a familiar loop that I've been stuck in, a familiar insecurity, a familiar feeling of being not enough. And you can let that Chiron energy win, right? You can just get back in your car and drive home, but there's an ask to have the courage to push through, to feel that familiar trigger, but choose to respond differently. That takes courage. And again, it's only you who can do that for you. Like that is the ask of North Node Aries, is knowing that you are the only one who can get what you want for yourself. There's a line from a Kali Uchis song where she says, no one can give me what I want. Like no one can give you what you want. No one can give you what you want. Like you have to give yourself what it is that you want. And sometimes that means overcoming challenges and barriers, whether that is physical, spiritual, mental. You got to allow that hunger to drive you forward. And I feel for some, there's a new chapter around having to step into your own life boldly. And perhaps for some, this won't be for everybody, perhaps alone. The Libra lunar eclipse casted a huge spotlight on our relationships, our partnerships, our friendships. And for some, with this being on the South Node, you could have let go of some people within your universe, or at least some patterns within those particular connections. And there could be an energy with this Aries solar eclipse around, yes, feeling the enthusiasm around, wow, a new chapter is aligning. I get to figure out who it is that I am as a single person. I get to figure out how I like to spend my time. I get to take on the challenges of what I want to do. But there's also this ouch sensation around this new beginning. That's also part of this Aries solar eclipse around, can I do this? Will I be okay on my own? Am I capable enough for the challenges that life is throwing my way? And no one can answer that question for you but you. And whatever question that comes to the surface is right. Like that's part of this week, is around, if you tell yourself, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, things like this don't happen for people like me, I'm not strong enough, I'm not courageous enough to set off on this chapter alone, I'm not bold enough to start this new business, I'm not courageous enough to try out for track and field. You're right. This is sort of a week where we can just identify with these pain points. And again, familiar energies of where we've used these pain points or these parts of our journey to hold ourselves back, to keep ourselves from getting hurt. Like that is the crux of this solar eclipse with it on Chiron, is that life is about falling. Life is about trying to fly and realizing that there is a hole in your cape. Life is about trying track and field and realizing you're not that good, but still showing up. You cannot do life wrong. And if you're trying to keep yourself from getting hurt or from getting your heart broken by keeping yourself from new risks and new challenges, this is a solar eclipse that's asking you for boldness, for courage, and not the typical way that we think of courage, but the sort of courage to have been hurt before, but still step into this next chapter willing to get hurt again, willing to fall down and get yourself back up. That's what being alive is all about. And you can't do life wrong. Like with the energy of Aries, it's emboldening this more messy, raw expression and experience of life. This is not an original thought. I want to say it originated from Jim Carrey talking to his dad, if I'm not mistaken. Just a tarot reader I listened to on YouTube had repeated it. And basically in this conversation was basically saying, hey, you can either fail going after your dreams, or you can either fail not going after your dreams. Both are failure. You might keep yourself more safe by not going after your dreams, but you will perpetually wonder, what would it have been like if I had tried out for track and field? Yes, I could fall on my butt and embarrass myself, or I can get to the finish line and be so proud of myself. I won't know until I go after it. And the more we try to pad ourselves from ever potentially taking a risk and putting ourselves out there and being messy and raw and bold and vulnerable, the less that we are truly alive. Like being alive means being messy. It means making mistakes. It means falling. You know, within the zodiacal wheel, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so it represents the first spark of life. Like it is the cosmic child, right, of the zodiac. And I'm not saying that Aries are children. I'm just saying the energy of Aries embodies what it is like to be a child. And if you have children, you know they are constantly hurting themselves. They're falling down. They're scabbing their knees. They're learning about the world, yes, in a more raw way, but it's knowledge nonetheless. It's like when we keep ourselves from playing with the universe, with playing with our desires, with going after what it is that we want, we have to know that there will be some scabbed knees every so often. But the ask is to continue showing up even regardless. Because the mythology of Chiron, again, Chiron super embodied within Monday's eclipse. Chiron was a centaur, half human, half horse, but in a lot of texts, he wasn't even a traditional centaur. It was like he had two human legs and he had a centaur behind. So the centaurs were like, you're too human, and the humans were like, you're too centaur. And he just had this feeling of just not belonging. And Chiron could have been like, well, F everybody. Like he was rejected. He had a weird birth story of why he was that way. Definitely recommend Googling that with caution, okay? Like a lot of mythology, sometimes it gets a little weird, but alas. He was abandoned by his parents, he was bullied, he was made fun of, and he could have taken all of that and been very jaded and been closed off to the world. Like, okay, I give up. Like, forget all of you. But instead, he became this mentor, he became this healer, he became an astrologer, actually, because of what he had gone through. Like he knew what it felt like to be ostracized. He knew what it felt like to be wounded. He knew what it felt like to be abandoned. And rather than using that and identifying with that and just shutting off from the world and be like, I don't want to get hurt again, so I'm just giving up on all of it. Instead, he still showed up to life and still showed up to help the very people or creatures, you know, mythologically speaking, he showed up to help the very individuals who had ostracized and abandoned him. And that takes courage to do. And the energy of Chiron is all about the unique wisdom that our story has given us, the wisdom that is embedded within the wound, the unique perspective that you have because of what you've gone through, because you've been bullied or felt ostracized or felt like your body type wasn't the right type, like the unique wisdom that that has given you. Chiron is earned empathy, like the way that we can help others or heal others because there's bits of our soul interwoven, like that unique medicine of being able to sit down with someone who truly gets it because they've lived it. Chiron codes cannot just be given, it has to be lived through, and the Chiron path is painful. And when, let's say you make the track and field team and then there's somebody who comes to tryouts and you can see that they feel uncertain and you go and talk to them and they say, I don't know if I can do this, I don't have the right body type. You're like, hey, I get it. I get it. So few people at this track and field meet get it, but I get it because I've lived it. And that's unique medicine, to be able to talk with someone who gets it. It's embedded within music. Think about it. It's like when you listen to a song that you're like, did we get heartbroken by the same person? Because I can feel this pain. I feel so seen. Or reading a book or listening to a documentary or something where it's like, ooh, they get it. It makes us not feel so alone. Again, this is an Aries solar eclipse that is about having courage within our own chapter, but you never know the wisdom that you moving through this wound, you'll be able to dispel towards others. So with Monday's eclipse, I don't want you to feel like you have to do a big ceremony or anything of the nature. You know how I feel about eclipses if you listen to Magic Monday. If you don't listen to Magic Monday, what you need to know is that eclipses, I'm a big fan of just wait and see, listen and learn. I don't like to do rituals around eclipses just because within traditional astrology, it was considered a little bit more malefic. Listen, here on Magic Monday, we're never fear-mongering. We never live in fear of the cosmos, but I do like to treat eclipses with respect, just around, hey, things are aligning for me. My job is just show up when I get the nudge or when I see the poster that says track and field auditions and my instincts are like, yes, this. Don't feel like you have to get involved. It's a very volatile time. My best eclipse advice would just be take care of yourself, take care of those around you. There can be an energy around feeling more easily triggered yourself, right? It could be external scenarios that are different, but it brings you back to familiar loops, to familiar stories within you. And also exercise patience with those around you. If someone's very snappy with you or very defensive, there could be events that maybe you've triggered a pain point of them. Like, we don't really know what people have lived through and what it is that they have gone through. Like I've been saying with eclipses, it tends to be intense, even if it's been relatively calm for you. For a lot of individuals, there's breakups, there's new beginnings, there's a lot going on. And if you find that somebody's being very sharp with you or very defensive, you're like, where is this coming from? Understand that a lot of people are battling their own demons within their own head or their own triggers within their own journey. So just exercising some patience with those that you connect with. And also just knowing that this chapter is your own, this story is your own. And Aries is a sign that is very much about authenticity. And with its alignment to Chiron, it's no longer having shame or guilt of your story. It's no longer feeling like you need to hide the ugly parts or the raw parts of yourself. It's showing up with courage. It's showing up with heart because of the Chiron codes that you have lived through, the unique perspective that you have because of what it is that you have overcome within your life. And understanding that strength isn't just pretending like you're strong all of the time. There's a lot of strength in softness. There's a lot of strength in vulnerability. There's a lot of strength in no longer pushing or suppressing the parts of us that do feel raw or do feel tender or do feel vulnerable. This is a new chapter that's aligning for you to step into fully as the person that you are with the story that you have, not identifying with the pain point, but rather learning from the pain point and moving forward even more courageously because of the unique wisdom that it's imparted. So in navigating Monday, be courageous, be vulnerable, be you, flaws and all, insecurities and all, inadequacies and all. You never know who it is that you're inspiring. And most of all, you never know the new chapter that you are initiating within your journey, understanding what it is that you've gone through and how it's uniquely set you up for this new beginning. So the moon will be void at 7:39 p.m. Closing aspect is the moon aligning with Mercury retrograde. Reminder to check out the Aries solar eclipse all signs forecast. That'll take you a lot deeper into everything that you need to know with this eclipse. But with the moon aligned with Mercury retrograde, it's a reminder, some of the battle might be out here, but some of it is in here. So being gentle with yourself, being gentle with others, and then when the moon's void, important tasks you must avoid. So make sure to rest. Eclipses are intense. So the astrology for Tuesday, April 9th. Tuesday's astrology asks you to challenge your comfort zone. And we see this with the moon entering Taurus at 4:23 a.m. and going on to square Pluto at 7:35 a.m. And moon is exalted in Taurus, and moon is what makes us feel safe. And so it makes sense that it exalts in the sign Taurus. This is all about creature comforts and predictability and reliability and the things that we know that we can count on that make us feel safe and soothed. And definitely, as far as the vibe check's concerned, you would likely feel a lot safer if you were to just drive straight home and go on the couch and watch your comfort show and eat some potato chips. Like, that would likely feel safer than daring to put yourself out there at track and field and risk judgment from other people, having to overcome your own challenges, having to get up when you fall. Certainly, staying at home would be a lot cozier. But we have to keep in mind, we have Mars, Saturn this week, and Saturn is a planet of time. So it asks us, how can I invest my energy this week that is going to benefit me within the future? How am I going to benefit future me? How am I going to make future me proud? How is future me so proud of the decisions that I'm making right now? What would make future me more proud? If I stay home and watch from the sidelines again as I watch the track and field team, or if I dare put myself out there? And the very act of putting ourselves out there, we have to challenge our comfort zone. We have to challenge our comfort zone. And we see this with the Taurus moon squaring off with Pluto. It's uncomfortable to do something different. It's uncomfortable to disrupt fixed grooves of behavior. And you'll have to fight inertia, right? You will have to fight your typical consistent routine, and it will feel quite uncomfortable to shift the behavior, to dare do something different. And there can be many moments, again, it's not a tryout for all of us, but in stepping into this new era of your self-employment, in stepping into this new era of your move, of stepping into this new era of singleness, there will be many moments that it's uncomfortable. But that period of temporary discomfort could be setting you up for a future trajectory that is the trajectory that you want to be on. If you keep doing what it is that you've been doing, you will keep getting what it is that you've been getting. And I hope that you can feel my heart when I'm saying this. I'm not saying you can't have self-care nights and watch your movies and eat your potato chips. I'm just saying if you keep doing what you've always done, you will get the results that you always have. Sometimes it takes disrupting something, even if it's uncomfortable, even if everything in you wants you to drive home from these tryouts. It takes being able to disrupt a pattern to start seeing some different results. So challenge your comfort zone. I'm a Taurus South Node, and Taurus to a certain degree is how we cling to things. And there was something within my life that I knew I had to change. And I kept putting it off because it was comfortable. It was comfortable within my present day. And I kept procrastinating on making a decision because I was comfortable and I didn't want to go through all of that discomfort of daring to have to do something different and all the messiness and the raw parts of making this shift would be. So I just kept procrastinating. And there was just like year after year without making a change because I kept waiting for it to feel comfortable to make the change. And change is never comfortable. Change is never comfortable. There is a period of discomfort. It takes challenging your comfort zone to really see if I keep doing what it is that I've been doing, will I be happy with what I will get at the end of it? Again, with Saturn, we got to think long term. And what I was contemplating, it worked in the present day. But days turned into more days, which turned into weeks, which turns into months, and then just more and more time was going on. And again, what my present day reality wasn't leading me towards the future that I could feel pulling me. And I had this amazing conversation with my sister. My sister's a Pisces Sun, Cancer Moon, and her life talks, she just gives the best advice. And she put it very succinctly. She said, Haley, it seems like you're enjoying your day-to-days, but you're not building your future. And a light bulb went off. Like you can enjoy your day-to-day and still not be building your future or putting your energy towards what will behoove future you. If you could fast forward to future you and see that you were doing the exact same thing, how disappointed would you be in yourself, right? You would want to see some growth and some gain. And oftentimes that doesn't happen until we shake at least something up, until we challenge a routine, until we put ourselves out of our comfort zone, until we get out of what may be comfortable. But just because something is comfortable doesn't mean it's right for you. And I get it. It's so uncomfortable to get out of our comfort zone, right? Especially with the Taurus moon concerned. But with Tuesday's astrology, there's just a reminder that we have to challenge our comfort zone every so often and really ask, if I keep doing what it is that I've been doing, will I be happy with what I'm going to get? And how can I exert my energy into what will pay off in the long term? Which sometimes sucks in the present moment, right? With Mars, Saturn, there can be certain defeat. There's something we're having to push through. There's something that's hard. And that's challenging within the present moment. But the overcoming of this challenge is setting you up for your new chapter. And we know this because we're in an eclipse week, my love. So challenge your comfort zone. Be willing to disrupt things. You can just notice to a very practical level on Tuesday that you're feeling very intense. There can definitely be feeling this in between. A crossroads energy is kind of what it's giving around seeing the new chapter that's aligning for you, but also missing the familiarity of your old chapter and just feeling kind of in purgatory between the two worlds around, I don't yet feel confident enough for this new chapter, but I don't resonate with where it is that I've been. So I just feel like I'm in the void. I just feel like, where am I? What's going on? And with the energy of Taurus moon, you know, I had talked a lot about challenging your comfort zone, but I would say eclipses are intense. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Again, I'm not saying we need to give up sugar and do ice baths and wake up at 5 a.m. No, like have your comforts, right? Have the things that ground you down, but really ensure that how it is that you're investing in yourself is putting energy towards future you and not just a temporary comfort in the moment. You have self-care that is constructive and that is representative of the person that you want to evolve into. Challenge what just feels comfortable in the moment, and you know that's not really how you want to show up. That's not really the life you want to be living. That's not really the behavior you want to continue doing. And it's hard because Taurus moon's very sensual, and sometimes when we have a craving where we want to go home and watch movies and eat potato chips rather than run, there can be a strong tendency to do that. But again, if you keep doing what it is that you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what it is that you've been getting. So challenge your comfort zone and maybe be open to do something new. So on Wednesday, April 10th, the headline of today's astrology is that Mars will align with Saturn in the sign Pisces. Now, keep in mind, Mars is an important planet right now because it is the ruler of the eclipse. It's, of course, the ruler of the Aries stellium that we have in the cosmos right now. We currently have Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Aries, answering to Mars, who's in Pisces. And now Mars is aligning with Saturn, which is the energy and the vibe check around you fell down. You fell down, you hit a wall, you feel defeated. It's like you're excited about this new chapter and you had to overcome so much even just to get to the tryout. And then you fell. You're like, really, universe? There can be moments this week where you're like, really, universe? You know what I had to go through to get here. You know all the fears I had to overcome, the hurdles that I had to overcome. And you're going to make it so that I trip and fall? Like, really, universe? Really? There could be moments like that. You know how Mercury retrograde goes. Oftentimes, you know, with Mercury being the trickster, there could be certain scenarios in your life that you're like, really? Really? And with the energy of Saturn, it's not mean for no reason. And the universe is not being mean or torturing you for no reason. Okay, you might feel like that when it took you so much to get to the tryouts and you fell down. You might be like, universe, are you just making fun of me? It is not. Saturn is not mean for no reason. It's mean to teach us discipline and to teach us endurance and to teach us the muscle that we have to work to keep going, to keep showing up day after day, consistently working on your running, working on your craft. Saturn does reward you, but it rewards you after time. And once you get back up, you work that muscle around, you know, you can knock me down, but you can't keep me down. You learn like, hey, okay, I was too fast right out the gate. I got too excited. Next time, next race, next meet, I'm going to temper myself a little bit more. We only truly fail in life if we don't try and if we don't learn. Like, that's why I'm saying with the energy of Aries, you cannot do life wrong. You'll either learn something or it'll work out. You cannot do life wrong. There's many experiences that you could have. There's many timelines that you can align to. You can't do life wrong. So if you're keeping yourself from trying or from experiencing something, the energy of Aries is asking you to try it. This life is your own. This body is your own. And the experiences that you want to have during this lifetime is your own. We talked a bit in recent Magic Mondays about releasing guilt of your own desires. And it's important to know that you have agency over your own life. You have autonomy over your own life. You get to decide what you want to experience and when you no longer want to experience something. When the chapter has closed for you around, okay, this is not something I want to experience. This is something that I do want to experience. You wanted to experience being on the track and field team. And so you took it into your own hands around, this is an experience that I want to have during my experience here on planet Earth. And you can either fail by not trying or by trying and it not working out. You have to decide which regret you would rather live with. Never trying or trying and failing, but really it's just learning and setting you up for the next chapter. The energy of Aries is raw. It's messy, it's trying things, it's jumping in. It's knowing that we can research and we can plan for the tryout, but at a certain point we just gotta show up for the tryout. And we gotta learn through falling. We have to learn through the experience of it rather than planning and analyzing and strategizing. Sometimes we have to learn through experience. We have to learn through falling and getting back up. Sometimes there's tough lessons, especially when Saturn's involved. But there's always a gift of Saturn, and that's what I want you to reach for. Absolutely, midweek, you can feel like you hit a wall. You could feel drained, exhausted. You could be asking yourself, why is it so much harder for me than it is for other people? Why does it feel like I'm the only one struggling here? Everybody else at this track meet is just pouncing like a gazelle, all gracefully, and I am over here sweating and out of breath and exhausted. Why is it so much easier for everybody else? This could be something that you're telling yourself. And I do want you to be mindful of that, because I'm not invalidating what is coming up. Like I said, with the Chiron energy, feel what's coming up. Feel the frustration that comes from, wow, it's so much harder for me than it is for others. I have to work 10 times harder, or it seems like I have to invest all of this time and energy and other people just soar to the finish line without exerting seemingly any. You can feel all those feelings, but I do want you to be conscious, especially with the Chiron energy earlier in the week, around getting too identified with the pity party. Okay, because with the energy of Chiron, it's acknowledging, hey, this is part of my story, but it's not all that I am. And there could be a desire with the Mars Saturn, with the Chiron energy, around blocking ourselves from even trying, because we feel like, well, it's just so much harder on me, so why even try? And so you can throw yourself a little pity party, but try not to get stuck there. You can have your pity party when life knocks you down, but you have to remember to pick yourself back up. You know, this conjunction lands in Pisces, which is a sign that can throw a pity party if there was one, right? And you can have those feelings, but with Mars Saturn, Saturn rewards tenacity. It rewards consistency, still showing up and creating the internal script that will allow you to keep showing up. Like, you can have your feelings, have that moment around being so mad, like, everybody else just gets to sprint like gazelles to the finish line. And here I am exerting all of this energy. I've been running every weekend. I just feel like I'm working so much harder and other people are succeeding way easier than me. Like, you can have all of those feelings, but with especially the Mercury Cazimi building tomorrow, it's important to gain awareness of these scripts and say, is this script going to take me to the finish line? Or do I need to flip the script around, just focusing on my race and getting up and doing the best that I can? With Mars Saturn, it's important to invest your energy, that's Mars, into what will behoove future you, Saturn, even if that requires sacrifices within the present moment. Even if that requires giving up, movies and potato chips to go to the tryout. Future you is so grateful that you went to the tryout, that you showed up. This could also show up in a very realistic way around investing energy into what will help you within the long term. So investing energy into a project that you know might take some time to see the fruits of that labor, but thinking of future you, showing future you some love. Even if present you, it's a sacrifice, you'd much rather do something else with your time, thinking of you in the future and investing in that person. With Mars Saturn, you could be feeling defeated. Like, you could just be feeling drained, low on energy, exhausted. You feel like your energy has a very finite amount. Again, rest, don't give up. Saturn rewards consistently showing up. And I just want to say, I feel like somebody out there needs to hear this. If you feel like your efforts are going into the void, you're like, I feel like everybody else is getting what I want with so much more ease than myself, even though I'm working 10 times harder than anyone else. I just want to say, I know it can feel like your efforts are just going into the void, but the universe sees you and the universe will reward you. And the universe could be simply building that muscle within you of endurance, of still showing up. Like somebody who works day in, day out all summer to be able to buy up a car for themselves is going to value that car more so than somebody who was just gifted a car from a distant relative. Like, you're going to value it more because you know what went into it. So just seeing this as an opportunity that the universe is asking you to hit the gym around how badly you want your desires, even with the challenges, the roadblocks that you could be currently experiencing. Now, to a lunar perspective, the moon will be in Taurus all day. It actually sextiles Saturn and Mars in the morning time, which can be helpful of that energy where I was saying to invest in future you, like with the Taurus moon. Water the sprouts of what you want to grow in the future, right? Sometimes that takes sacrificing the short-term pleasure in order to invest in the long-term payoff. So rather than sleeping in the morning, deciding, hey, I'm going to wake up 2 hours earlier in order to, practice my running out on the track, or to write a song, or to film a YouTube video. Present me might be more comfortable sleeping in, but I know future me deserves this energy investment. And with the energy of the Taurus moon on Jupiter, we're definitely in a more optimistic optimistic, emotional space, definitely looking at the world through the lens of growth, physical growth, mental growth, spiritual growth, financial growth. Really asking yourself, if I could grow anything within my world, what sprouts would I water? Like, where do I want to see growth? What arenas of my life? And how can I balance both the moon on Jupiter, expansive energy, with the Mars, Saturn, kind of restrictive energy in order to move towards that growth? Because Jupiter is being able to see opportunity or believe in ourselves that we are worthy of said opportunity. And then Saturn is committing to the discipline that that opportunity may take. Again, if we think about gardening, you could be optimistic and expansive and plant all these seeds, but you got to show up. You got to water it every single day or the sprouts will suffer. And that's sort of the ask of Wednesday around, yes, use this moon Jupiter energy to be optimistic about the new chapters, to feel good, to invest in what's valuable to you, but also know it will take commitment, it will take discipline, and that may mean having to overcome some unexpected surprises. Okay, the moon aligns with Uranus around 3/18, so there can be events within your Wednesday that are unexpected. Technical difficulties are par for the course with Mercury retrograde, miscommunications, obstacles, falling down, things that are unexpected, but still showing up regardless. So welcome to your forecast for Thursday, April 11th. I want to just highlight super quickly that it is now the next day. In filming the first portion of Magic Monday, I was just feeling more and more not well. So I do apologize if this Magic Monday is a little bit all over the place or not up to my typical standard of content. Also, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm losing my voice. Gemini midheaven, can't stop talking, and it's affecting me. I feel better today physically. Yesterday I felt like I was getting sick. Today I feel good. I just sound like this. So my deepest apologies that I'm here squeaking into the mic. But alas, let's get into Thursday's astrology. So the main highlight of Thursday's astrology is that we have a Mercury Cazimi, and it is an inferior conjunction as Mercury is currently retrograde. And it's actually quite ironic that my voice is nearly gone in describing this energy, because we know Mercury is about communication, and with Mercury retrograde sometimes there can be issues around communication, miscommunication, delays. Mercury retrograde, it's ever the trickster. You gotta laugh at it sometimes. But alas, there feels to be an epiphany coming through, an aha, a light bulb moment. And since Mercury is retrograde, this light bulb moment is likely coming from within. There's likely something that you are awakening to. Like that moment in the vibe check around awakening to where these fears stem from. Keep in mind, Mercury retrograde, it flips the direction inward, and it also flips the direction from being more focused and concerned with the future to being more concerned with tying up loose ends from the past or reminiscing or reflecting on the past. And so for some, there can be certain light bulb moments around, these are the fears that have kept me stuck, or these are where the fears come from that are making me feel full of self-doubt as I step into this new initiation. And again, if you can illuminate that pattern, you limit its power over you. You can bring it to light. Again, Sun is the illuminator. It's aligned with Mercury. So something's coming to light and it feels like it's coming from within. You're bringing to light a pattern of thinking that you've been stuck in. You're bringing to light something that has been weaved into your past. You're bringing to light an aha, an epiphany that will help you moving forward. So definitely honor what ideas or epiphanies or illuminations are coming to the surface on Thursday. Like I said, Mercury is retrograde, which tends to be a little bit more introspective. And again, it's in Aries, so it's about your journey, your instincts, your desire. But I do want to highlight that this is the energy of the past, so some people could be hearing from someone of the past. And like I say, every time when we talk about Mercury retrograde, it's not about the person who comes back. This Mercury Cazimi is an invitation to contemplate, what did I learn about myself through interacting with this person? Things that happen around eclipses are quite significant, but it's not necessarily that this person coming back is significant because they're going to be with you on the next leg of your journey. There just could be some closure that you're needing to mentally create with this person, or something that this individual is reflecting to you about your thought patterns. So certainly honor the light bulb moments from within as well as around you on Thursday. I do want to say that when it comes to arguments and things of that nature. We're feeling very frustrated this week as we have Mars on Saturn on Wednesday, and with the Mercury Cazimi retrograde. Sun is about ego, Mercury is about words. So you could feel frustrated that people aren't seeing your perspective. There could just be an energy around feeling quite frustrated, not being able to see other people's perspectives outside of your own light. So also just being mindful of that. So from a lunar perspective, and I'm cracking up that this is my voice right now. What do YouTubers do when they lose their voice? I have no idea what to do. This has never happened before. I don't feel like I've been talking that much. Speaking of being chatty, on Thursday, the moon does enter Gemini, but before it does, the closing aspect of the Taurus moon is that it sextiles Neptune and Pisces. So again, whenever we have Neptune energy, your dreams could be a little interesting. And the moon will enter Gemini at 5:59 a.m., which we know is all about communication. And the Gemini moon is answering to Mercury, who's aligned with the sun. So again, there's ahas. For some of you, there could be creative ideas. And I'm feeling with Mercury retrograde, it feels to be a creative idea from the past. Like, look at your old notebooks, look at your old projects, look at the past seeds that you have planted. And with Mercury retrograde, you can find when you go back, you're like, wow, I have all of this content that I could rework and pull into something else. Or, wow, these poems are actually pretty good. Let me put them into a poetry book. This is an invitation to get more inspired around tying up loose ends from the past, as well as digging for gold in your past, particularly from a creative lens or in a verbal lens or a written lens, with the moon in Gemini answering to this Mercury Cazimi. But definitely do not discount the gems that could be found in the past. Again, the solar eclipse is launching us into the future, but there can be clues or foreshadows of our future wrapped up in our past. This would be like the energy of the vibe check, reading your old journals and reading this desire showing up very consistently around, I want to do track and field, I want to do track and field, I want to do track and field, and reading it in all of the journals and allowing that to give you courage. Like, look how long I've desired this. Look how long I've wanted to take this risk, and look how long I haven't. Right? And that could give you the courage that you need to go try out, to go make your dreams come true, as well as the past version of you's dreams come true. I always feel like it's so gratifying when we see bits of who it is that we are now, or what it is that we want now, wrapped up into our past. Like, I think I've shared this before, but when I was younger, I loved playing with a video camera. I would make all of my friends be in my little movies. I loved editing, and I just feel like that younger version of me would think it makes absolute sense that I work with cameras, that I still edit. Like, it's fun when you see bits of your past weaved into your future, and maybe some of you are calling back some of these past desires or these past components of you in order to pull them into your future. It's either giving you courage around the next step, giving you inspiration around the next step, or sharpening into focus what aspects of you want to pull into the next step. The Gemini moon will trine Pluto in Aquarius around 9:23 a.m. and it will build to sextile Venus in Aries later that night. So this is a chatty day. Definitely your focus could be pulled in many different directions. Definitely ensure to cross your T's and dot your I's with the ruler of this lunation being Mercury, who is retrograde. This could be an energy where you're getting easily distracted. You're not rereading. You're letting coworkers pull you away while you're trying to wrap up an important project. It could be hard to keep your eye on the prize, particularly when there's people that you want to connect with. This could be a day where you're trying to work, and there's this funny TikTok that your friend sent you, and then this friend wants to plan this upcoming trip with you, and you're getting Slack messages from coworkers. Like, your attention could just be a little scattered, but it does feel that you're enjoying conversing. And like I said, whether it's in a solo context or even in a group context, with the Gemini moon trining Pluto in Aquarius, there can be ahas, there can be creative ideas, there could even be new solutions to old problems even that can be found when you get together, when you brainstorm. And then that evening, I would definitely say it would be nice for like a fun and flirty date night. Like I said, Mars, Saturn, there's aspects of this week where we're feeling frustrated. Something's not going our way. We're investing a lot of energy and we're feeling like the payoff is far. And it just feels like the sort of date night where you guys are just like, let's just forget about work tasks. Let's forget about this annoying HOA problem. Let's forget about this annoying issue with our in-laws. Like, let's just have some fun. Let's do mini golfing, right? With Venus and Aries compatible competitive dates are great. And just with the energy of Gemini moon, get curious, get chatty, connect. So on Friday, April 12th, the moon continues on in Gemini all day long, and I do want to illuminate that we are in a waxing crescent moon phase, which is a time around taking action typically. Again, be mindful before you jump into something new. Mercury is retrograde, right? But I will let you know that we do have a waxing crescent moon, which is supportive around initiatives that we want to grow. I do see that some of you could feel quite discouraged in the morning time, as the Gemini moon will square off with Saturn and Mars at 7:39 a.m. and 9:51 a.m. respectively. So you could just feel like your energy hit a wall. Or maybe there was a mistake in a project yesterday because you were distracted, you were chitty-chatting with everybody. Maybe you had too much fun in the date night the night prior, and it's hard to like focus or to even stir up the motivation to want to work. There definitely can be some energies of discouragement, and we need to say it, the energy of Gemini moon, there could just be a lot of thoughts, a lot of overthinking, and you could be hurting your own feelings with your overthinking. We need to keep in mind that Mars and Saturn is in Pisces, which can be very dreamy in contemplating new realities, but it can also be very imaginative around assuming the worst case scenario, right? Like with the energy of the Gemini moon square Mars and Saturn, like this would be sitting in the car, dreaming of all of these ideas or all of the things that could go wrong should you go try out, like sitting there and thinking, well, what if I get struck by lightning when I'm out there running? Or what if I get a wedgie? Like just imagining all of these reasons that are blocking you from trying this new risk. Again, the moon's in Gemini. This is a strong urge to learn. Even if you fail, you're going to learn. Even if you fall, you're going to learn. Cue Alanis Morissette, you live, you learn. She's a Gemini. How perfect is that? The only way that you don't learn is if you imagine and concoct all of these excuses why you can't take this risk and block yourself because of it, overthinking around all of the reasons and ways it could go wrong. So there does feel to be a little bit of discouragement in the morning. And then in the evening time, there's just like this shift where all of a sudden you're not taking things as seriously. Like in the morning, you could have got an email from a coworker who was like, oh, you did this wrong or you missed this. And it was really hurting your feelings in the morning. And you were like concocting how the organization is going to fire you and it's all over for you. But it feels like as the day goes on with the Gemini moon sextiling Mercury, Chiron, and the sun in Aries, that you're realizing not to be so serious or take yourself so seriously. Like remembering to laugh at life. That is one of the best ways to navigate Mercury retrograde, is having a sense of humor. There are going to be misunderstandings. There are going to be things that go wrong. It might even be you falling down on the track, right? You could beat yourself up about it or you can giggle and just keep it moving. It's really up to you. And if possible, laugh. You know, like I am finding it somewhat humorous that I'm losing my voice during Mercury retrograde. Like, hello, I'm Mercury ruled, so I'm more sensitive to Mercury retrograde. So my fellow Mercurials, so my Gemini risings, Virgo risings, how are you guys hanging in there? Are you guys losing your voices too? Are we in this together? But alas, I just see there's this energy around shifting into a more lighthearted, playful energy as the day closes. And that could be healing with its sextiling Chiron. It could be healing to not take yourself nor life so seriously. So on Saturday, April 13th, the day starts off with the Gemini moon squaring Neptune. So as I always say with Neptune aspects, your dreams in the night prior could have been interesting. And there definitely could be a slower start to your day. The moon, after squaring Neptune at 7:46 a.m., it will be void. And when the moon is void, important as we must avoid. So it doesn't feel like the most productive morning. You could be lazing in bed. You could be daydreaming about all the things that you could do with your weekend, yet not doing any of them. You could be in a more dreamy headspace. Again, Gemini moon's very much in the mental. And with the square to Neptune, really contemplate if your thoughts are watering what it is that you want, realities you'd like to experience, things you'd like to experience, or things that you don't want to experience. I'm not saying you have to filter yourself, good thought, bad thought, but with the energy of Neptune, it's important to know that when you envision something, that is energy. And so it asks you, what are you envisioning? What are you putting energy towards? What sort of ideas? What sort of subject matter? Like with the energy of Gemini moon squaring Neptune, this could also be a morning that you get lost researching something in bed for hours. And you're like, it's been 2 hours that I've been researching grasshoppers. Again, it doesn't always have to be like manifesting energy with the square to Neptune. It could just be, you know, putting energy towards things you want to learn about and things you want to experience. Some of you could be feeling a strong urge in the morning time around wanting to escape your reality or even escape your thoughts. So with the energy of Gemini moon, just be like, can I turn this off? Can I turn this off for like a second? Can I have a break? You know, the energy of Neptune, sometimes we're more apt for, you know, escapism, things of that nature. Then the moon enters Cancer at 10:45 a.m., which ends the void. And so now we have the sun in its exaltation of Aries. We have the moon in its rulership of Cancer. They don't necessarily make a nice connection. We'll talk about that when we talk about the first quarter moon, but they're both sitting pretty. They like where it is that they are. And with the moon in Cancer, you could definitely feel this shift towards dialing more energy towards your inner world, your domestic world, your family, what makes you feel soothed, your family, your chosen family, your pets, whatever it is that you take care of, whatever you nurture or whatever nurtures you. There could be a pull to pour into that. Because again, I just feel like with the sun in exaltation and moon and rulership, it's a reminder that the more that we pour in and nourish ourselves in what is sacred, the more we are able to shine out into the world. Like the more that you are so committed to the care and keeping of you, the more empowered you feel to walk into that track and field tryout and show these people how you run, right? Because you are pouring into yourself. You're doing what makes you feel soothed. Like I said earlier, sometimes we got to challenge our comfort zone, but it's always important to have practices within your world that pour into you. It allows you to feel more supported to go out into the world. It's like that energy of a nest where birds feel empowered to fly the coop because they have this comforting nest. So it asks you, how are you nesting? How are you taking care of yourself to empower you towards the new risks that you are being asked to take on? So on Sunday, April 14th, in the morning time, the Cancer moon squares off with Venus in Aries, which can be this battle, right, around what is familiar versus what is new, what creates a challenge. There could be push-pulls that you're feeling within your connections currently around one person wanting a lot of closeness or to do the same thing, and the other person wanting to be more out in the world, have more space. Like there could be a push-pull around not feeling like your emotional needs are being fully met within your connection, or having a clash between what is familiar versus what is novel. It's almost like building on that bird analogy last time. It's like you and your partner in your nest, and your partner wants to fly, you know, they want to have a Sunday to golf or do whatever it is that they want to do, and you're like, no, stay in the nest with me. But to truly love someone and to have partnership, we have to allow them to have their own experiences, their own challenges, trusting that they will come back to the nest in due time. And with that energy, the Cancer moon will trine Saturn and Mars. So it is a great day to get things done, especially around the home. Great housekeeping day, would be a great day for some deep cleaning, great day for some DIY projects, like nurture the nest. Okay, nurture the nest. And then the Cancer moon will square Chiron, which again, Chiron energy, there can be pangs that come up this week. And it's not about running from the pangs. It's not about ignoring the pangs. It's not about escaping from the pangs. And it's not about identifying with the pangs either. Keeping ourselves from experiencing new things because of these familiar old pain points. It's about learning from it, around, oh, that's something that makes me feel defensive, or that's something that triggers me. Oh, there's something here. It's allowing it to come to the surface so that you can move forward feeling more empowered, like integrating it, not running from it, integrating it into yourself, not denying that it's there, not trying to act like it's not there, but also not allowing it to keep you from your new chapter. Just understanding, hey, that's my backstory. Hey, that's where I've been prior, and I'm not going to let it keep me from the new start that's initiating with this Aries solar eclipse. In fact, I am particularly equipped because of my story to step into this next chapter of my life. So my loves, that is our week. Our Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I have the courage to be vulnerable. A lot of times when we have a lot of Aries in the cosmos, we can feel like courage needs to show up in bravado, or somebody who has never had any fears. But I think the true definition of what strength is someone who's been hurt before but still shows up, who allows themselves to be known, Because again, if we run from the Chiron stuff, if we pretend like it doesn't exist, who will be able to truly and deeply know you? Aries is a sign that represents authenticity, being the person that you are here to be. And there's parts of this solar eclipse and this Chiron energy that's about letting our guard down, understanding that we have flaws, we have inadequacies, we have insecurities, as everyone does. And the most courageous person in the room isn't the person who acts like they're perfect and acts like a warrior all of the time. It's the person who's able to show up in their softness, in their vulnerability, with their story, with their pain points, and still shows up, still moves into this new chapter with courage. So my loves, if you made it to the end of this video, that is a freaking miracle, because the way that you've had to listen to me squeak and croak at the last couple days of this forecast, you deserve a medal, my love. But the emoji of the week, if you did make it to the end, is the running emoji. You could do anybody running, or use the word run in a sentence to let me know that you made it to the end. Snaps on you, my love, for listening to my squeaky, croaky voice. You know, maybe it's on brand with the Chiron energy, right? Because for me, with my Virgo placements, I'm like, I can't film like this. I sound horrible, but this is who I am. This is who I am. This is how I sound like right now. And may this Aries solar eclipse give us all the courage to just be who it is that we are, authentically and courageously. So my loves, I'll see you next week, hopefully with the voice intact. But until then, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.